Have you ever reached for the light switch in the dark only to pause just for a second and think, did I leave that chair too close to the hallway? Or maybe you've stood up from the couch and felt your balance hesitate, just long enough to make you grab the armrest again. These small moments might not seem like much, but over time, they whisper a bigger truth. That independence, the very thing we fought so hard to keep, doesn't disappear in one dramatic moment. It slowly slips through the cracks of daily habits we hardly notice. But here's the good news. The same way independence can quietly fade, it can also be quietly protected. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. In this video, we'll explore 5 everyday mistakes that many of us make after 65. Mistakes that can shrink our world, weaken our body, or dull our confidence without us realizing. These aren't dramatic choices. They're the little ones, like skipping a task we used to do ourselves or putting off that walk because the weather's not quite right. Bit by bit, they add up. And if we don't notice them, they can make our lives feel smaller than they need to be. But when we catch these habits early, we don't just stop the decline. We actually build strength, confidence, and freedom in its place. That's what I want for you. To feel in control, to move through your days with ease, and to hold on tight to that independence you've earned over a lifetime. So before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to our channel and tap that little notification bell. We've got plenty more real talk ahead about staying strong, sharp, and self-reliant no matter your age. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me and to the community we're building together. If something in today's video resonates with you, I'd be honored if you'd click like, share it with a friend, or drop a comment telling us what topics you'd like help with. We read everyone. All right, let's start with the first habit that many of us don't even realize is making life harder. It's the habit of avoiding small physical tasks that feel just a little inconvenient. Not painful, not impossible. Just a bit of a hassle. Maybe it's bending to pick something up off the floor, or reaching into that lower cupboard to grab a pan. Maybe it's walking across the house to put something away, but deciding to leave it there, for now. These are the moments that train our body, whether we mean to or not. Each time we skip them, we tell our muscles, "You're not needed right now." And slowly, they start listening. The problem isn't the skipped task, it's the pattern. Over weeks and months, the body begins to lose the subtle strengths that keep us mobile. Things like hip flexibility, ankle stability, grip strength. And when those things fade, getting up from a chair becomes effortful. Standing on one leg to step into a pant leg becomes wobbly. Not because we're weak, but because we've stopped giving our body the regular little reminders it needs to stay tuned up. So here's a simple shift. Whenever something feels like just a bit of a hassle, pause and do it anyway. Reach for the floor. Step onto the stool to water the plant. Squat to check the back of the fridge. Every time you do, you're not just completing a task. You're reminding your body that you're still in the game. That you're not done. That you're still living fully. Now, while we're thinking about the little ways we move through each day, let us take a closer look at another silent habit that might be holding us back without us even knowing it. There's something almost invisible about the second habit we're going to talk about. It doesn't creak like your knees might. It doesn't tug at your muscles like lifting a heavy bag. But over time, it weighs down your confidence and clouds your clarity. It's this: spending too many hours sitting without meaningful movement. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of rest your body needs after a long walk or gardening session. That kind of sitting feels earned, restorative even. I'm talking about the quiet drift into a day where hours pass, and your biggest movement might be from the breakfast table to the TV, or from the couch to the phone charger. We all deserve relaxation, but when stillness becomes the default, it starts to train our body in the wrong direction. Our circulation slows, muscles tighten, balance weakens, and worst of all, our sense of self-momentum starts to vanish. It becomes easier to say, maybe later, and harder to say, let's go. And the tricky part? It often feels justified. You might think, I've done my share, or what difference does it make now? But here's the truth. Even a little movement, done consistently, can radically shift the trajectory of your strength, your independence, your life. So instead of overhauling your whole day, try this. Make a rule for yourself. Move your body with purpose every hour, on the hour. Stand and stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Walk to the furthest window and back. Do 5 gentle heel raises by the sink. It doesn't have to be fancy or hard. It just has to remind your body that you're here, you're engaged, and you're still choosing to move forward. You might be surprised how much better your back feels, or how much easier it becomes to stand up after lunch. Just because you invited a little movement into the rhythm of your day. And speaking of rhythm, let's talk about the kind of habits that sneak in when we're on autopilot. One in particular has a way of draining not just our energy, but our freedom. It's relying too much on convenience foods, things in boxes, bags, and drive-through windows. Now, before you roll your eyes or feel judged, let me say this. We've all had long days. We've all stood in front of the fridge thinking, I don't want to cook. And truthfully, a frozen pizza here or a sandwich there isn't the end of the world. But when processed foods become the backbone of our diet, day after day, they start to change us. We get more sluggish, our joints ache more, our focus feels fuzzier. Blood sugar and blood pressure edge up, and gradually the energy we used to count on just isn't there anymore. It's not about becoming a health nut overnight. It's about choosing fuel that supports the life you still want to lead. If cooking a full meal feels like too much, simplify. Keep pre-chopped veggies in the fridge. Make a big batch of soup on Sunday and reheat it all week. Blend up a protein smoothie with fruit and oats. The goal isn't perfection. It's nourishment that supports strength, balance, and independence. Because when your body feels fed, not just full, you stand taller. You walk steadier, you think clearer. And that opens up space for all the things that make life worth living. Let's keep going, because there's another habit that sounds helpful at first, but quietly limits your independence if left unchecked. Have you ever caught yourself saying, better safe than sorry, and then realized you were avoiding things that once felt simple? Maybe it's skipping a walk because of a slight breeze, or saying no to an outing because the parking lot feels too far, or asking someone else to reach for that top-shelf item when you used to do it without a thought. It's completely natural to want to protect yourself. You've lived through enough to know how fast a fall or a misstep can change things. But here's the quiet truth no one talks about. Avoiding too much, in the name of safety, can actually make you less safe over time. The muscles you don't use, they weaken. The steps you stop taking, your balance slowly fades. The confidence you once had, it shrinks. Until even a grocery store trip feels like a chore, not a choice. Now, that doesn't mean we throw caution to the wind. What it means is we stay in the game, carefully, but actively. If reaching overhead makes you nervous, practice it with support nearby. If long walks feel too ambitious, start with 5 minutes up and down your hallway. If lifting a laundry basket is too much, lift a pillow 10 times just to keep the motion alive. The body, even at 65 or 75 or 85, is surprisingly trainable, but only if you give it the invitation. Avoiding everything out of fear doesn't protect your independence, it quietly hands it over. And there's something else that can steal your spark. Though it doesn't come from your body, it comes from your routine. It's living too many days that feel exactly the same. Now, routines can be beautiful. Morning tea, evening walks, reading before bed. They anchor us. But when every day becomes a copy of the last, our mind starts to dim a little. Our spirit gets quiet. We stop learning, reaching, connecting. And that's when we start to feel old. Not because of the number on the calendar, but because the world feels smaller, flatter, less surprising. The antidote isn't a big vacation or a total lifestyle change. It's curiosity. Try a new kind of tea. Call someone you haven't spoken to in years. Sign up for a workshop, even if it's online. Rearrange your furniture just to see your space differently. Try writing down one memory each morning. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters that you do something unfamiliar. When you feed your curiosity, you feed your brain. When you feed your brain, you feel more alive. And people who feel alive tend to live longer, move better, and stay independent far longer than those who let the same day repeat itself. So if you've been feeling stuck in a loop, this is your permission to break it. Even gently, even slowly. Just enough to remind yourself you're not done yet. There's one final mistake we haven't touched on yet. And it's the one that's hardest to see from the outside. But when we name it and shift it, something powerful happens. Some habits are easy to spot, like skipping movement or staying inside too much. But others live in the quiet space between our thoughts. They don't shout, they whisper. And one of the most powerful of these is believing that asking for help makes you weaker. It's a belief that sneaks in slowly. Maybe it starts with not wanting to be a burden. Maybe it's pride, built over decades of holding the house together, the kids, the career. You've always been the helper, the strong one, the one people lean on. So the idea of needing assistance, even a small thing like asking your grandson to move the flower pots, feels like admitting defeat. But here's what's true. Independence doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means choosing when and how you get support, and seeing that choice as strength, not surrender. People who stay independent the longest aren't necessarily the ones who never ask for help. They're the ones who build a circle, a rhythm of give and receive, a system where they're connected enough to know when to lean in and when to lean out. Think of the strongest trees. Their roots aren't alone, they're linked underground, sharing water, sharing nutrients. They support each other quietly. You deserve that too. So if you're hesitating to call a friend, or say yes to a neighbor who offered to drop off groceries, or even to let someone know you've been feeling a little off lately, this is your sign. Not weakness, wisdom, not failure, freedom. And sometimes, the most beautiful part of that connection is what you give back. A smile, a story, a listening ear. You're not a burden, you're a blessing with decades of experience to share. So we've walked through movement, curiosity, and connection. But there's still one quiet mistake that tends to sneak in, even for the most vibrant people. It has nothing to do with the body or even the mind, really. It lives in the way we speak to ourselves. It shows up in small phrases like, "I'm too old for that," or "That's just how things are now," or "There's no point." These aren't facts. They're conclusions we've drawn after a few tough moments. But if we keep repeating them, they start to shape our days. And once your days start shrinking, so does your independence. What you say to yourself, especially in the quiet, is what you live by. So let's flip the script. Instead of "I'm too old for that," try "I've never done it this way before." Instead of "There's no point," try "What if it helps a little?" Instead of "That's just how it is," try "I wonder what could shift if I changed one small thing." Language is power, and you still hold the pen. The truth is, the world doesn't get smaller unless we let it. And while no one can rewind the clock, we can choose how we move forward from here. With care, with curiosity, with community, and with the kind of quiet strength that says, "I'm still here, I still matter." Let's close this conversation by pulling it all together, with a little hope, a little fire, and a reminder of just how much life there is left to live. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs don't come from grand changes, but from gently rethinking the smallest parts of our day. And maybe the most important shift, the one that protects your independence more than anything else, is how you see yourself in this chapter of life. You're not fading, you're refining, you're not winding down. You're becoming more of who you've always been, without the noise, without the rush. And the beautiful truth is, your choices still matter. Every step you take in the morning, every time you decide to stretch instead of sit, each moment you choose to stay curious, make a call, try a new recipe, share a laugh, accept a hand, or offer one. Those choices build something. They build strength, resilience, momentum. And momentum is a quiet kind of magic. It doesn't shout, but it carries you forward. We've all known someone who seemed to grow smaller with time, not just in posture, but in presence. They stop doing the little things. They tell themselves, it's just part of aging. They shrink their world until it barely stretches past the driveway. But it doesn't have to be that way. You've also known the ones who keep surprising you. The woman who learns a new language in her 70s. The man who picks up watercolor after a lifetime of paperwork. The couple who starts dancing again because, why not? Their secret isn't luck, it's daily decisions. It's choosing, again and again, not to give up ground they haven't truly lost. It's believing that independence isn't a gift someone hands you. It's a garden you tend. So now that we've walked through these quiet, everyday mistakes, I want you to pause for just a moment and check in with yourself. No judgment, just honesty. Are you staying still because it's comfortable? Or because it's right for you? Are you saying no to help out of habit? Or because you truly don't need it? Are you repeating stories in your head? Or writing new ones each day? This moment, right here, right now, is a chance to reset, to ask better questions, to choose a different rhythm, to reach out, move a little more, believe a little bigger, and speak to yourself with the same kindness you've given others all your life. Because independence isn't something you defend. It's something you express. Through movement, through connection, through mindset, through meaning. You've made it this far, and you're still evolving. That's the gift of this season. So here's to that next walk around the block, to calling an old friend just to laugh, to picking up a book, a brush, or a new habit, to saying yes when life whispers an invitation. Here's to living on your terms, with grace, with guts, and with the quiet confidence that your independence isn't behind you. It's in every step you choose to take from here on. If this message resonated with you, even a little, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Let us know what helps you stay strong and independent. We're building a community here, and your voice matters. And if you found this helpful, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It means more than you know, not just to me, but to everyone who might discover it because of you. Here's to living your best life at any age, and never giving up the power of your own 2 feet.